Hey everybody, I'm back with another love lesson. It's been a little bit, but this one was really heavy on my heart. So I definitely wanted to share this one with you. I'm going to give you guys 3 points and I'm done because I know I've been like a little long-winded lately. But the topic is how to guard your heart. So the what do you think question being, why is it that I keep getting hurt? Hi Byron. So again, the what do you think question is, why is it I just keep getting hurt? So this doesn't have to just be romantic relationships. This could be really any kind of relationship. And this is definitely not a sermon, but it does say in the Bible to guard your heart. But I know I've always been the one to wonder, like, okay, what is that? Like, how do I do that? Because I'm a really passionate person. I'm a really open person. So if you are watching this and you're passionate, you're open, you just are a just kind-hearted person. People tell you that you're too nice. This is for you. Now, most people this may not be for a lot of people, but I definitely had to at least share because I know that there's some people out there like me that I'm passionate about everything that I do. And I'm passionate about anybody that I bring into my life. Like I really sincerely care about you. So those of you that know me personally, you know that I do really care about people. That's why I do what I do. That's why I wrote a book, There's More in You. That's why when I decided to become a life coach, I wanted to help people that were disadvantaged. I didn't want to just target people that had plenty of money. I wanted to help the least of them. So people like me. So if you're like that, give me some love, give me a heart. Let me know that I'm not the only one. But people like me, sometimes you really have to take a step back and you have to really evaluate yourself. Hopefully you can hear me okay. If you can hear me okay, give me a hard thumbs up and all of that too. But you really have to evaluate yourself and you really have to evaluate your life overall. So the first thing, if you are that person that somehow you find yourself hurt in situations and you feel like you shouldn't even be hurt in the situation. So even if you are the person that is getting the messages from people, hey, Siobhan, getting messages from people that's saying you hurt them, then maybe watching this video will help you to have an understanding of what maybe they should be doing, and maybe you'll be a little more sensitive to it. I'm hoping that I can shed some light because I feel like a lot of people, they're like shut down from love. Like they're just like, a lot of people have hurt me. So, effing well is a lot of how a lot of people look at it. And they're like, when people are expressing that, oh, you hurt me and things like that, it's like not a big deal. So what I do want to make sure that I emphasize is that sometimes it's like what goes around comes around. So you don't want to be like that. You don't want to be the person that's completely callous and that's not even concerned at all about how other people feel. And then if you are the person that's being like, you're really sensitive, then here's some things that you can do. You can set boundaries. So a lot of people struggle because they don't even have clear boundaries. They don't have boundaries set and what they will tolerate and what they will not tolerate and what is okay and what is not okay. So they find themselves people doing things and they're like, okay, why is this hurting my feelings? Because it was not okay, but that person did not know that it was not okay to do something like that. So you do have to be mindful of that. Hey, Andre, you do have to be mindful of what your boundaries, what your limitations are. Okay. The second thing, if you you can't even set boundaries. They're kind of, I should have said this one first, because you can't even set boundaries without knowing yourself and knowing who you are. Hello, cousin. I see you. Without knowing yourself and knowing who you are as a person. And I do talk about that for those who don't know. I did write a book. It's right here. And I do talk about that in my book, where I talk about You've got to know who you are. And let me emphasize this, because people that are over 30, which I'm generally talking to people that are over 30, they feel like they already know who they are. But let me tell you this, don't be in denial of who you really are. So if you are the kind of person that can't deal with certain things, you have to accept that about yourself. And you have to make sure those boundaries are put in place, because you cannot deal with certain things because of how you're built, period. So you really have to do a self-evaluation, and you really have to look within yourself and say, okay, what are some things that me being me, if you are a sensitive person, hey Tia, hey Cassandra, if you're a sensitive person, you have to set certain boundaries, because there's no way that sensitive people can just deal with any and everything. Because if you are a sensitive person, then you know, and please give me some love on this, if this is you, then you know that you kind of overthink little things. Like, is this going to hurt this person? That really bothered me when they said this. I felt this way when they walked in the room. If you're that kind of person, that you're really intuitive and you really pay attention to how other people feel, how you feel, your feelings are heightened, then this is definitely for you. So, hey, Nina. So this is definitely for you. If you are not that person, maybe you should be aware of that. There are other people out there that they feel your energy. So they feel when you come into a room and you feel some type of way. So even though you may not say that directly to them, you feel some type of way. So if you know that you're a sensitive person, you have to set up certain boundaries. Maybe you don't go around certain people. Maybe you don't talk much to certain people. So those that really know me, like have really met me and been around me, they consider me kind of quiet. And I'm not quiet, but they consider me kind of quiet because I do know myself. I know that I'm very sensitive. So if I get to talking and things like that, and then this person says something or does something that violates my boundaries, then I'm going to be upset. And when I'm upset, it's not good for anybody. So, I have learned that part about myself, even from a child, that I don't say much until I know, and I've really gotten to know the people that are around me. And I really try to get to know people on a deep level. So then that way I'm not offended by anything that they say. That way that they shouldn't be offended by what I say, because they actually know me as a person. So again, know yourself. Don't be in denial of yourself. Don't be the person that's saying, "Oh, no, I'm cool." No, and you know deep down you're not cool when somebody roll their eyes at you, and maybe that's just their personality. That's what they do. And if you are the type of person that type of stuff just goes all through you, then you have to be aware and careful of the type of circles that you get in. When it comes to romance, then you have to be aware and careful. For me, I'll give you an example. I do not like a-holes. I'm not trying to cuss right now. So I don't like people that are very sarcastic and they claim they don't mean anything by it, but they're just sarcastic and that's just how they talk, right? That I can't do it. So because that person, they don't want you to take offense to it, but personally, it just makes me feel a certain kind of way. So as a result, I just decide that I don't deal with people like that on a close level. I don't get close to people like that. Or if you're the type of person that when you mean what you say and you say what you mean, if you are that person, then that means you can't deal with people that are flaky. So anybody got an issue with flaky people? Give me some love. I don't do flaky people. I don't do people that say they're going to do this, say they're going to show up at this place and they don't show up and different things like that. I can't do it. So, hey, Daryl, I don't think that's my uncle. I was about to say uncle. Hey, Tammy. But I can't do that. I don't function, male, female, whatever. I can't do it. I'm too sensitive for things like that. It gets on my nerves. It bothers me. I take it too much to heart. I take it as it's disrespect and things like that. And it's not necessarily disrespect. That's just what that person chose to do. But I can't do people like that. Whether you're my close family, you can be my sister, brother, boyfriend, husband, whatever. Even if it's my husband, he would know, like, don't do that. And my ex-husband, he still doesn't do that kind of thing. And he doesn't owe me anything, but he knows that how I function. Like I don't do well with that. So knowing yourself and not being in denial, because I've definitely been in denial for some things, and I'll be like, no, I think I can deal with that. Or maybe I'll start making up excuses. Anybody ever make up excuses for people? I have done that so many times. And as I'm getting older, I'm done making up excuses for people. You can't make up excuses for people because everybody is responsible for what they do and you're responsible for what you do. So you can't do that. And that's a part of guarding your heart, because when you're making up excuses for people, then you leave room and you leave yourself open for somebody else to do the same thing to you again. And then you wondering why do I keep getting hurt? Why does this keep happening over and over again? Because you are opening yourself up, because you are in denial for who you really are and what you really find important. So what are your values? What are things that you find very important? And when you figure out what your values are and what the things that are very important to you, then you need to connect with people that are like-minded. Because if you don't connect with people that are like-minded, then they will keep doing the same things because you haven't set any boundaries and you haven't been clear within yourself. So you have to teach people how to treat you, because they don't know. They think it's cool. Some people, they don't find an issue with raising their voice or using a certain tone with you. They don't find an issue with last minute cancellations and different things like that. They don't see an issue with that. But if you don't put it out there and let them know this is an issue for me, then they're never going to know. And that's going to continue to happen in your life over and over. Now, the last thing that I'm going to say about this is that you do have to remember that everybody does not think like you. Everybody does not think like you. I know a lot of my girlfriends, when I get into, I shouldn't say a lot of them, but a few of them have told me this. When I get into, oh, this person hurt my feelings, and I have kind of gotten to a mode where I'm kind of overanalyze it and things like that. And I would say, well, I don't understand why a person would do so and so. I don't understand why this. I don't understand why that. Well, I don't understand fully because I am not that person. Okay. So you do have to leave room for that as you are guarding your heart and understanding that everybody is not you. Everybody does not think like you. Everybody does not move like you. Everybody does not even want to be like you. So that being said, that's why it's so important to know who you are, to make sure that you set your boundaries and make sure that you have developed a tolerance for people that are not like you, because that is really what's going to help you to get through. When you're thinking about all of these things and all of these things are in place. So when you meet new people or even the old people that you have in your life and they keep hurting you, you have to sit down and do the work yourself and say, okay, what is it about myself that really does not allow me to be able to handle something like this? Why does this bother me so badly? Why do I feel disrespected? Do I feel betrayed? What is it about what this person is doing that bothers me? So when you figure out all of that, then you can set your boundaries. And then once you set your boundaries, now please make no mistake, people are going to cross your boundaries. I mean, rules are made to be broken is what I heard. So just because you have set boundaries within yourself, that does not mean that people are not going to try to cross those boundaries. But what you're going to have to do is make sure that you still draw the line again. And some of you probably need to draw the line with some people. And I'm not saying that it's an easy thing to draw the line, because sometimes it hurts. Sometimes you may lose people because you've drawn a line, and you've drawn that line not because that you have anything against this person, but it's because of the love for yourself. Okay. So ultimately, all of this being said, what's the love lesson in all of this? The love lesson is to love yourself enough to guard your heart. Use wisdom. Use wisdom, especially, I know I talk about dating a lot, and this one is just, it kind of crosses the boundaries with all types of relationships. But for anybody that is dating, This is the kind of stuff that you have to do. So if you find yourself, if you are dating and you find yourself feeling like some type of way, after in these relationships that have not even fully blossomed into full relationships, then you probably did not do one of those three things. You probably have not done a self-evaluation, a self-check. Who am I? What kind of things that make me happy? What kind of things upset me? What kind of things irritate me? What kind of things make me mad? All of that, you haven't really thought about it. So the stuff is just coming up and then you're kind of having a knee-jerk reaction. So if you're out there in the dating game, you cannot have this knee-jerk reaction. You want to have thought about these things in advance. And if you're not sure, that's where prayer and meditation come into play. That's where talking to people about it come into play. People that do know you and do know what you can deal with and what you cannot deal with. For example, this is a funny one, but I had went on a lunch date with a guy, and for some reason I just wasn't really feeling him like that, but I couldn't figure out why, because he met most of the things that, an ideal woman would like, as far as he has a stable career. He's a good father. He's very respectful. He's handsome. He's spiritual. All of those things that a lot of people would look for. But as I began to tell one of my friends about him, and she got more and more details, she was like, girl, he cheat. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, I never really looked at it that way. That was a part of knowing myself. I was like a blind spot. A part of knowing myself should have, like, if I had really evaluated myself, I would have really right off. I wouldn't have even dated him ever, because he didn't have that same value system that I had, where I don't like, if I go out, I don't really like to feel like, well, how much is that? Oh, okay. Well, can I get like half of a chicken wing? I don't like to feel like people are like counting everything that I'm doing and things like that. And that's just that's a part of me knowing myself. So with a person that is wanting to date me, then I would have to set that boundary, and knowing, like, if they want to offer for me to do something, for example, dinner at their house or stuff like that, I don't want to do stuff like that. Like, that's a boundary for me. I don't want to go over your house and have you cook dinner. Like, it's just not my thing. Maybe once we are an official relationship, but no, I'm not doing that for a first date. So I had to kind of really think about, what kind of things do I value? What kind of things do I need to put in place so people won't think that I'm okay with it? Because just because you have a tolerance for differences, all that means is that you don't get offended because people do that, because people are going to do what they want to do. Okay. So just because when you have a tolerance that people have differences, meaning like some people, they think that is a wonderful first date. And I have not knocked it before trying it. I have done it before and I'm not impressed. Okay. So for me personally, I don't see anything wrong with that for other people, but that's not what I want to do. And you have to really have to come to a point of self-acceptance for you to be completely okay with it. And what I will say as well is, for people that feel like you really have this, like you don't get hurt on a regular basis, you are you're good for the most part, but people are coming to you and they're saying, okay, well, this person hurt my feelings, that person hurt my feelings, then this way you'll know what to say to that person. You'll know to tell this person they need to know who they are and what they expect. They need to set those boundaries, and then they need to never be offended. So you don't ever want to be easily offended just because somebody is moving in a certain way that you don't agree with. That is not like, you're just hurting yourself if you are hurt because somebody did something that you don't agree with. Okay. So this was not the most popular message. It was not the most popular lesson, but I know a lot of people, a lot of times they don't even want to admit that they've been hurt over and over again, where they're getting the wrong impression with dating different people, or maybe they've been hurt over and over again because they can't communicate clearly to some family member. Whatever the situation is, they have not done the work on themselves and they keep getting hurt over and over again. So I had to share this because honestly, just getting a reminder of things like this is always really helpful, especially in a way that's succinct. Like there's 3 things that you need to do: knowing yourself, setting those clear boundaries, and developing that tolerance for other people. Everybody doesn't think like you. Everybody doesn't move like you. So hopefully this was helpful. Let me know though, because it seems like a lot of people like the stuff that's more directed toward just romance, couples, singles, and dating. But I just had to do this one because this was something that was on my heart, and it definitely is something that's helpful for people like me that are sensitive, passionate people. So all that being said, if you're watching a replay and you have a question, you can drop that question in the comments. If you're watching a replay and you just have a comment, or if you agree, you disagree, then I do always want to hear what you have to say. Another thing is, is this your first time and you haven't seen me live before, then I do download these and I do post them on YouTube. So you can always go to YouTube, and I'll drop the link underneath this live. But you can always go to YouTube and you can see some of my previous videos. And then if you have any comments, then let me know. Thank you, cousin. I really appreciate it. All the encouragement, all the comments, all the likes, all the shares. I always appreciate it. David, I forgot to mention, hey, I saw you come on. Hey, cousin Mondi, love you. Or is that my cousin? I see Irvin. So my bad. Sorry. But I saw everybody coming on, and I do try to respond to each and every person that does comment, and I appreciate everybody that likes the video. So again, I am looking for subscribers for my YouTube channel. So check out my YouTube channel and subscribe. But until next time, always remember that there is more in you. There's more joy. There's more peace. There's more love. Goodbye.